Okay, so I was given a topic about assistance to autonomy, but this was I have taken little liberty to change the topic. We have recently got lot of new regulations enforced. So I thought, being a test agency, it will be nice if we have used this platform to talk on lot of regulatory stuff which has shaped up in recent times, and how do we stand up as compared to rest of the world, and from where there how do we see the forward journey, at least from a Indian perspective. So to start with, let's have a brief touch upon what is Nitrax. So Nitrax is a automotive proving ground, the only proving ground in the country from its original classification. We are located at Indore. It comes under Ministry of Heavy Industries, and it is spread over 3,000 acres of land with close to, let's say, 40 kilometers of various tracks, and now it is shaping up as one of the biggest, let's say, ADAS testing arena as well. So it was originally conceptualized as a vehicle dynamics proving ground. So we have all sort of tracks which are needed, right from high-speed tracks to dirt lanes, and then associated labs as well. From last few years, we have entered into electric vehicle testing, and the ministry taking a frontal role in driving the electrification in India. Now we have reached a stage where we would like to expand ourselves into the full vehicle electrification testing, right from two-wheeler all the way till heavy commercial vehicle. In the same path, with the ADAS and connected vehicle coming up, we can easily see that Nitrax can become a strong player in becoming the proving ground where the entire, let's say, ADAS as well as connected vehicle testing can happen at one place. And let's see, coming back to the original point which I said, how do we see the evolution of regulatory framework in India, and how do we position it or compare it with the rest of the world. So as most of you are aware, ADAS regulations are or standards are largely driven from two perspectives. One is the safety perspective, and another one is comfort perspective. Safety has more mandatory role to play as compared to comfort, which is often taken as a developmental say activity, not too much as a enforcement activity. So from that side, if I have got a few important countries or zones divided. Just to give you a very brief classification, the red ones are not still enforced, the green one are enforced, the blue one is voluntary, and the yellow one are just in the draft phase or about to be enforced. So let's say talk about automatic emergency braking. So this has come last month, and in India, at least for M2 and N2 category, they are going to be in 2026, enforced from 2026. In European Union, they are already in place from 2024, and the same with, let's say, China and Japan. Then we have lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control. As I said, the certain comfort features have taken a little backstage when it comes to the enforcement. So at least for Indian regulatory framework, the comfort features are not so much in priority. That is why you don't see ACC regulation enforced as yet. We still don't have even a draft for ACC. But when it comes to the other safety features, whether it is lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, blind spot detection, we are pretty much there, just maybe a few years behind, let's say, the leading countries or zones, but at least we are pretty much there. Now, in a similar line, we have few other important regulations when it comes to the overall safety. One is intelligent speed assistant. Europe has taken a very forward-taking path here. From 2024, they have introduced the intelligent speed assistant. So what is intelligent speed assistant? Let's say you have a speed rating of each roads right from 20 kps to 120 kps, let's say in Indian environment. The vehicle has that intelligence from the speed limits, and then adjust the speed according to the limits. So that is the intelligent speed assistant. Certainly from a safety perspective, this is a regulation which personally I feel will be a game changing for India once the ADAS features penetrate in a big way, because one of the leading causes of road accidents in India, as per MORTH report, consistently has been over speeding from last few years. So none of our vehicles in expressway meet 80 kps. We have seen, as we have got better roads, better vehicles, the speed is the only thing which is increasing in our Indian roads. So, and that is obviously one of the leading causes of accidents. So this can play a very important role when it comes to say providing safety in Indian roads. Then we have automated emergency steering. The blue one, as I said, are voluntary. So China and Japan have taken it as a voluntary way. India still haven't got any standard. Same with US. Now, automated emergency steering, again, EU has taken an optional path for it as a voluntary. Then traffic jam assistance, and then we have few more which I will talk towards the end. Now, let's say, yes, sorry, one more slide on the NCAP. Now, how our NCAP compares with the rest of the world? Your NCAP has obviously taken a set a benchmark when it comes to the overall integration of the ADAS features into the passive safety domain. So at present we have at least Euro NCAP evaluates AEB, lane support system, speed assistance systems, and then from the planned enhancement from 2026, we have even driver monitoring and motorcycle detection and more complex scenarios going to get integrated into Euro NCAP. When it comes to US NCAP, from NHTSA, they are also having crash imminent braking, dynamic braking support, even lane departure warning as part of their current assessment. And then the next level is blind spot warning, blind spot intervention, then lane keep assist, pedestrian function. So when it comes to India, at present it is all passive safety. That was also introduced last year. But what we are hearing is, at least from 2027, once the next revision comes, is we will start seeing ADAS features getting integrated into it. Hopefully by that time, our the new regulations of AEB, lane keep assist, blind spot detection will be in place from 2026. So when we move to 2027 onwards, hopefully the Bharat NCAP will start seeing integration into the assessment. And then when it comes to China, they also have forward collision warning, lane keep assist, ESC and ACC function integrated into their assessment. And then going forward, they also are planning all the way up to level 2 of autonomy assessment done in, let's say, China NCAP. Now, let's briefly look into our standards. I don't want to spend much time, but at least have a glance of what our standards, AIS standards, have come in draft phase, and some of them have got an enforcement date of 2026. So we have right from, let's say, advanced emergency braking, at least the consensus has come for M2, N2, M1, N1 is still, the dates are not out. But what we are foreseeing is from next year, at least for commercial vehicle, we will have ABS function enforced. And then similarly, we have detection of pedestrian and cyclist 187. We have blind spot detection, that is also projected to be enforced from 2026. Driver drowsiness, other function 184. That also is projected to be enforced from 2026. Then intelligent transport system, forward collision, this I think is getting integrated into AEBS, so it may not see as a separate draft. Then we have, let's say, lane keep assist, that also is projected 8191, which is projected from 2026. And then 191 and 188, sorry, LDWS, which is warning system, that is projected from 26. Lane keep assist system may take little more time. So that is overall scenario of Indian regulation. Now, in the forward slide, I have got little more detail, but in the paucity of time, we will not spend much time into looking into each and every standard. These are available in public domain, so anybody can read it. Obviously, they are tailored by looking at, say, Euro standards. Some tweaking, as it always happened with Indian standards, has happened while framing these standards, but more or less they are in line with what you see as established standards from rest of the world. The challenge which we always have is when you start framing those regulations, you don't have data from the real Indian conditions, which you can say, yes, the speed has to be 10 and not 15. At this point, you need to give the, let's say, the warning signal. So those things are based more on the pattern which is set by other standards. There is always a requirement that we need to do more R&D into our own framing of our own standards, and that has to happen in a collaborative way where the test agencies, the component suppliers and OEMs come together and start developing those for Indian roads. Somehow we still haven't reached that stage, and I will certainly use this platform to spread this message that at least when it comes to ADAS, where the driving systems and the ecosystem has a huge role to play, we cannot afford to go in the path of just blindly following what has been done in the rest of the world. So I think since we are still in a very early stage of our journey for full-fledged ADAS features development and associated standard, I think it is high time we start framing our testing protocols or our data capturing done in a collaborative way, so that we can precisely develop those standards based on the say Indian ecosystem or Indian infrastructure, or the say the way we see our traffic say or driving culture. So now I will quickly move towards an important slide, which is what are the regulations we see are needed in future for India, which we still are not discussing. We haven't got any committees formed for the same, but we see, yes, these are the standards where we need to take a call soon. One is traffic sign recognition. We don't have any draft for them yet, but yes, this is certainly needed, because when we talk about autonomous features, it has to detect the signs. Yes, we have a lot of non-standards signs and say a huge variation from state to state, but at some point we need to develop a standard, and we already have references from other parts. Then rear cross traffic alert system, intersection collision warning system, and that it especially becomes very important when we are talking about intersection, whether it is, let's say, cross intersection or roundabouts or even T-junctions. We have a lot of accidents happening in India where all of a sudden in a highway, a sort of a vehicle from nowhere enters and then appears in front of a heavy vehicle or even passenger vehicle. These roads are not designed in a way that it gradually converges back to the main lane. It just all of a sudden from a perpendicular direction merges into our main highway. So that is a big challenge. Similarly, emergency lane keeping, automated headlamp dipping, driver monitoring system, child presence detection, vehicle to vehicle communication, lane keep assist. So there we are talking about obviously lateral control, because the warning system we are talking is just the lane departure warning. But when we talk about the assist function, then we are talking about, let's say, going all the way up to level 2, where you have a steering control, then adaptive steering assist and adaptive front lighting system. So all these things are already there in UNEC, and there are drafts ready, or they have at least some projection going forward. We haven't started working in this. I wanted to give you a perspective so that at least when you people get a chance to participate in the committees whenever it comes, or at least get a chance to campaign for this regulation, you have at least more proactive role to play. Now, in the remaining few minutes, I will dwell into National Automotive Test Track test facilities, and that is where I may, request maybe a little bit of your attention, because in future we want to expand these facilities, and it cannot happen in isolation. We need a lot of inputs from the people who are supposed to use these facilities, and what sort of requirement they have when it comes to their own testing protocols and testing, internal, standards which they want to see in a facility provider like us. We at present have test equipments which you generally see in many places, whether it is the instrumentation or dummies or robos and all that. So we want to build more on that, but at least to start with, we have all of them. Then, as I said at the start, there is almost 40 kilometers of track which is there at Nitrax, and I'm not even including the off-road grid. These are purely the bituminous or concrete tracks we are talking about, including the high-speed track. And we have classified what sort of testing can be done for ADAS feature in each of track. For example, in high-speed, we can do ACC, emergency braking, lane departure warning, blind spot detection. Similarly, in dynamic track, these are the two most busiest track we have. The most is the dummy and pedestrian testing, automated emergency braking, lane keep assist, stability control. Now, when I said I need your inputs, is lot of times when we see this testing happening, it is still happening in a very linear condition. So you have one emergency braking, you have one object, and then all of a sudden that object move in front of a vehicle, and vehicle detects it and applies brake. In our actual condition in India, that scenario never plays out. You always have multiple objects which a vehicle has to encounter, and when we try to do that, the system does not work. Okay, so it means that we need to develop testing protocols which are little more complex and not so linear in nature, because that will never depict the actual situation. Maybe it work for highways, that yes, you are moving in single lane. In India, we don't follow the lane system so well. Maybe in expressways people have started seeing, but then we also start getting that news. Just like few months back, I was watching one news where in Meerut expressway, a vehicle was coming on the wrong side. I mean, in India, you can easily imagine, maybe not in rest of the world, where you say when you have a controlled accessway, how can a vehicle come in the wrong direction? Okay, but it happens here. So it means that we will always have various type of non-linearities to play with, and we cannot keep doing the testing in a very, very isolated condition. I am driving in a straight line, a vehicle comes all of a sudden in front of me. No, there will be more than one vehicle which will come. There will be different type of objects which your systems will not be able to recognize. Okay, and I have done some trials on my own, that when the classification is not so clear, let's say you have a various sensors, you have an object is not very clearly defined in a bounding box, then the software does not work. It gets confused. Okay, it tries, you try to do the segmentation, and even you play with various type of classification technique, but somehow it fails. And in India, that is a very typical scenario where you will never get a clean bounding box. If you have overlap condition, you have dim light, and it gets confused. So I'm talking about those type of complex scenario where I think we need to rely on let's say, the simulation environment where you develop those edge scenarios, or even in the field we try to mimic those type of confusing situation for the sensors. So that is where I said we need to develop those type of say testing protocols in close collaboration, so between test agency and the participating organization. Now going forward, we have various other tracks. Handling is one of them, and we are increasing the this track in terms of safety area. This is easily one of the biggest handling track in the country, with close to 3 kilometers of with various curves. So this could become one of our track where you can do braking or even other lane keep assist in a cornering condition. Similarly, we have 5 different type of braking condition where you can test in under various braking situation, including wet braking. And these are extensively used for normal vehicle dynamics, but easily you can project it for even ADAS application. It is not. Yeah. Then going forward, we also have various gradability tracks, right from 6-degree slope to 30-degree slope, then various type of crossing and intersection, and that is where we are also reaching out to our other companies to see how we can develop more of those intersections. Certain intersections which we have don't give a feel of Indian roads. That is what people tell me, your tracks are too much designed for Western stuff. They don't mimic Indian condition. I said when they were designed, they were not designed for ADAS, they were designed for vehicle dynamics, to see how you can perform various type of maneuvers. But yes, since we are now talking about city conditions and how do we do ADAS features, we need to build in those type of narrow lanes and objects and all that. So we need to interject all this infrastructure into our existing infrastructure. And that is what we have thought about by having, let's say, city condition to mimic those type of closed lanes and various type of, say buildings and all that. This will take time, but I'm just saying this is on our plan. Similarly, various type of curves. So infrastructure building is always a very tedious process. It is not so easy. Then going forward, we also have our thoughts about other simulation environment, whether it is driver in the loop, vehicle in the loops, or even, let's say, other hill benches. When we reach out to our customers, they don't give a projection that we need it next year or following year. There is still some latency period, the way I see them going out of their comfort zone from their develop environment, develop labs, which they do it at keeping things close to the chest. So I think it will take time for them to appear in a common hub like us, but I feel this is going to be required, because when we want to talk about co-development where multiple players want to come together, whether it is OEMs, component, or even tire, you need to have a common platform where data can be exchanged, data of our tracks are given to them, and then it becomes like a black box for them, where without compromising on the confidentiality, you use this type of environment to come, you do your testing, do bulk of your testing into simulation environment, and then try to correlate. So I mean, this is the future, but yes, it is taking time. We still are in an early phase of our journey to see how we can create a co-development spaces in places like Nitrax and maybe in other agencies as well, where multiple people come together and they try to do the development testing. So we don't see just this proving ground as a certification. As you see in the entire V cycle, the development, the final product comes after 24 months after bypassing all this V cycle. So our role comes towards the end. But if you have this type of stuff, maybe we start coming into the role even from 9 months, 12 months type of time frame, before waiting for final product to be developed after 20 months or 24 months, and then letting you use those facilities. So that's all I have from my side. I thought I will keep last few minutes for Q&A. If you have anything or you want to pass any suggestion, you are open. We will use last few minutes. The message which I want to pass on is that we are looking to collaborate with industry and institutes. We already have tied up with 5 IITs. We have a lot of OEMs using our tracks, and I think at least for ADAS and going forward even for connected vehicle, we need to develop common platform. We need to work in a collaborative way. Otherwise, we will be just falsely ticking some boxes that yes, my product is complying to some NCAP and some features, but when it comes to the actual condition, that feature will not work, and the driver will switch it off thinking it is a nuisance these companies are selling me. I don't want to use it. Okay, so that's all from my side. Open for any Q&A. So I think people are waiting for the hot coffee, so we will take that as excuse. So thank you very much.